Hello, everyone. This is Gina Bang with Avanti Destinations. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thanks for taking the time. We are joined here today with Lisa Sholin of VisitBritain, as well as Megan Ball, our lead product manager at Avanti Destinations. Today, we'll be going over the 4 food hubs of Great Britain and talking more about our new itineraries and campaign, focusing on the culinary delights of Great Britain. Lisa, would you like to take it away?
Great. Thank you so much, Gina. I am so happy to be here. My name is Lisa Scholand, and I'm the Senior Travel Trade Manager of the Western and Central U.S. for VisitBritain. I'm based in Los Angeles, and our headquarters is in New York. VisitBritain is the government tourist office, and we promote tourism to Great Britain around the world. We work really closely with London and Partners, Visit England, Visit Scotland, and Visit Wales. I'm excited to be with you and our friends at Avanti to fill you in on a new culinary campaign. VisitBritain joined together with Avanti to create new and quite delicious, I might add, itineraries highlighting Great Britain's food and drink hubs, unique experiences, and regional specialties. I'll start by giving you an overview of Great Britain, and then Megan Ball, Avanti's lead product manager, will join in, and together we'll give you the inside scoop on the regional culinary destinations that Avanti is offering. Okay, but first I wanted to give you the inside scoop on a new branding campaign that we've just launched, and it's called I Travel For. It will introduce you to Great Britain as the most wonderfully unexpected island. You'll see fresh images and video of iconic British locations, culture, and style. But you'll also see people and places in Britain that are unexpected. This dynamic way of seeing Britain and its people is through the lens of what people travel for. We know that people are inspired to travel by many things. What do you travel for? What do your clients travel for? Ask them, and you can tap into that emotional connection of what drives them to book a trip. As you look through all of our imagery and videos, we're hoping to inspire you to find those undiscovered places, places that you don't expect from Britain. And personally, I love to travel for local flavor. I'm a total foodie, and I love having afternoon tea and delicious fish and chips. Those are iconic dishes that you can expect. We know that we can find Michelin star restaurants in London, and now there's gastropubs on every corner, and they focus on farm-to-table foods, seasonally organic dishes that are locally sourced. But then there's also the unexpected, like award-winning English sparkling wine that beat the Champagne region in a blind tasting. The wine region in southern England is incredibly beautiful and tasty. Or you can go cycling through cider trails or have world-renowned cheeses in Wales. There's also some of the freshest seafood from the Scottish coast. There is a strong food and drink culture on the island just waiting to be discovered. There it is right there. Is that yummy or what? Right on the Scottish coast. So now we're going to move into some of the general information about Britain and to give you a little bit of a Great Britain 101. And sometimes there's a little confusion actually about the difference between Great Britain and the UK. Great Britain is the island, so it's England, Scotland, and Wales. The United Kingdom of Great Britain is made up of England, Scotland, Wales, plus Northern Ireland. Great Britain has a population of 65 million people. Americans love visiting Britain, and 2017 kicked off to a record-breaking start. Visitors are spending at record levels to a tune of $2.9 billion, which was up 16% on January through September. And Britain welcomed 3.1 million visitors from the U.S., and that's up 15% compared to the same period last year. California is the #1 producing state for visitor arrivals into Britain, and New York and Tri-State are the second. So as you travel through Great Britain, you'll see that it's actually a small island and that you're never more than 70 miles away from the coastline. So it's really easy to combine a visit to the coast and the countryside in one trip. To give you an idea of the general size and distance, it's just 620 miles from the Land's End at the very southern tip of Great Britain to the very top of Scotland, and the drive would take about approximately 14 to 15 hours. For visitors that are less keen to drive, then it's really easy to take the train with frequent services and ease of travel with the BritRail Pass, and even easier now with the BritRail Mobile Pass that people can download onto their phone and travel in England easily. As far as access, you cannot compare. We have 900 weekly U.S. departures into Britain, where we have 30 international airports. Taking advantage of the variety of air access also allows your clients so many other options. They can fly into Manchester, and then they're entering the gateway to the north, or fly into Edinburgh and explore the Scottish Highlands or Islands in no time at all. The key entrance points into Britain are located in and around London, which is the key hub for all rail services. And we also connect, of course, well with France and Belgium using the Eurostar. Now, getting around Britain via rail, traveling by rail is a really scenic and relaxing way to discover Britain. We have a fast and frequent rail network, meaning your clients can make easy journeys across the whole country, such as London to Edinburgh in less than 5 hours. For example, as these journey times from London show, you can get on a train in London and be in Cardiff, Manchester, Liverpool, or York in around 2 hours. So using that BritRail Pass or the England M Pass is a great way to get around. Pass is valid for travel in England, Wales, and Scotland, and there's flexible and consecutive durations, and your clients can hop on all the mainland trains to visit some of the most scenic places. So today we're focusing on traveling through Britain by highlighting the regional food and drink specialties. The 4 food hubs that we have determined are based in Devon and Cornwall, which is in southwest England, London, of course, our capital city, and Yorkshire in northern England, and then Scotland. And in Scotland, we're focusing specifically on Edinburgh. Now, as you can see, Britain has amazing regional food and drink specialties. Scallops and lobster on the Scottish coast, whiskey trails in Scotland, but then also in England we have ale and tea trails, cider trails, and award-winning wines in southwest and southern England and southeast. And then southwest England is also famous for Devonshire cream and Cornish pasties, and then cheeses. Oh man, do we have cheeses. We actually have 700 cheeses throughout the UK, and we actually have a city named Cheddar. So now I'll pass it on to Megan to talk about some of the wonderful product that they've created.
Yeah, thanks, Lisa. So it's been really fun and exciting to create new options, new packages, and itineraries for your clients based around these 4 food hubs that Lisa has been talking about so far, and kind of piecing them all together. So we have both Taste of London, Taste of Cornwall. These are smaller, just kind of regional highlights. They're 3 nights. They have maybe 1 food tour, 1 drinking tour as a suggestion, but we have a lot of other options that your clients can kind of mix and match to create the experience that they're looking for. We've also put together several what we call RVPs, or a recommended vacation package. They're basically suggested itineraries. I can't stress enough that with our FIT offerings here, it's totally customizable. It's if whatever your clients are looking to do, but we've put together some itineraries if they want some ideas to work with. So one itinerary is Great Flavors of Britain. This is combining all 4 food hubs with a night in the Cotswolds thrown in there in the middle. So this one, it's jam-packed with a lot of really cool stuff. It's going to start in London because most people are arriving in London at the beginning of their trip to Britain, typically. So it's 3 nights in London, and then with tours there, and then a transfer out to the Cornwall region where they stop at the Bombay Sapphire Gin Distillery along the way and do a distillery tour and tasting. then 2 nights in the Cornwall region, including a really fun experience there called the Catch and Cook fishing trip, where the clients get to go out on a boat where all of their equipment is ready for them, and they go to these fishing hotspots and fish for a variety of different catches from the sea, let's say. And then after a few hours of that, they go back to dry land, they go to a cafe, someone will take the fish that they caught and prepare it in whatever way the clients are wanting to have their fish prepared for them. And then they have a full lunch there. So that's something really fun and unique to the area. After Cornwall, then they are driven to the Cotswolds region for 1 night, stopping in Glastonbury along the way. There's an abbey there that has mythical roots of King Arthur, a very interesting stop. Then they're driven on to York, stopping in Nottingham on the way there. I actually just went to Nottingham a couple of weeks ago. I met Robin Hood. He was showing me around the city, and it's just a fun little stop off along the way. And then after York, doing a train up to Edinburgh, really easy to do, just a couple of hours. And then with a food safari tour in Edinburgh, and then also a day tour out to one of the really most beautiful lakes, or a loch as they call it in Scotland, where the clients go on a boat ride across the lake, they visit a small village, and they have this huge seafood spread, and then also go to a whiskey distillery and do a tour and tasting there as well. So like I said, jam-packed with a lot of really fun things. Of course, if they want to add or reduce nights, they can totally take this itinerary and kind of break it apart and put it together in the order that they want to do. So, Lisa, can you talk a little bit more about the Southwest, though? I talked about Cornwall and like the fishing. What else can people do there?
Absolutely. It's a beautiful region, and it's actually quite large. It stretches all the way from the Cotswolds down to the southwest to Cornwall at the most southern tip. And actually, Brits really love this region for their own summer vacations. And some of the key attractions in the area, you've got the Roman baths, which have been people seeking wellness from the natural thermal waters for over 2,000 years. It has stunning coastline, rugged cliffs, tons of surfers, and charming fishing villages. It's also the Jurassic Coast, which is geology that's spanning 185 million years. So you can actually go fossil hunting. And they've also just completed the Southwest Coast Pass. It's the longest national trail in the UK. You can walk 630 miles of superb coastline. So some of the areas that you might not be familiar with is like the Eden Project in Cornwall. There's incredible gardens in Cornwall, but the Eden Project is one of the most unique. It's actually a massive biome house that has the largest rainforest in captivity, and exhibitions and concerts and classes. No matter what your age, whether it's children or what your interests are, you could spend all day there. It's absolutely fascinating. The Southwest also has become renowned for its amazing food and drink, and we now have a celebrity chef, Rick Stein, who has quite a few restaurants that focus on the seafood, and the main one is in Padstow, and it's incredible. And then there's also different culinary events and really wonderful farmers markets across the region. And then Bristol is only 12 minutes from Bath, so you've got some great areas, as well as Salisbury, the Salisbury Cathedral. You can see one of the only 4 Magna Cartas in the world. And also, if you have clients that have fans of the TV shows like Doc Martin or Poldark, you'll definitely want to promote this area. And there's also tours that people can do that are focusing on like the filming locations and things like that. But it just really has a ton to offer. There we go. Some of the foodie highlights in the area, again, which are regional specialties. Fresh crab sandwiches by the beach, sampling local ales. There's tons of microbreweries there. And then the cream teas, which focus on the Devonshire cream, and just incredible cider as well. There's 400 varieties of apples to produce cider there, and of course the Cornish pasties, which are delicious, savory, with meat and vegetables and potatoes. And there's all kinds of contemporary ways or traditional ways to have them. And I'm passing on to Megan.
Yeah, so I had mentioned that we have some smaller, what we call regional highlights. It's where we kind of focus on one city or one region for maybe 3 or 4 nights. So for this promotion here, we have Taste of Cornwall and Devon. So it's 3 nights in either the Cornwall region or in the Devon region. They kind of bleed into each other in the same area of southwest England. And in either, they can stay, we have hotels in either region, and from both, they can go do that catch and cook fishing trip that I was telling you about. And then also there's the St. Austell Brewery. So they have this brewing experience where you get to go and learn how they make their own beer. They can taste some of the classic brew beers that they have there, and then taste some of the new ones that they're trying out as well. And these smaller, the 3-night taste of packages, these are a good idea if your clients just want to sample like one little area at a time, or maybe they don't want to do the full-blown itinerary that we were suggesting, but they just want to sample a little part of it, and then maybe after Cornwall they want to go like to Wales or a different area. These are great little packages that they can just kind of insert in and create their own longer itinerary. So in this region, we also have sips and samples of Southern England. So this is going to be combining London and the Cornwall/Devon areas. So this one's a lot of fun because there is it's a good mixture of new, interesting places, maybe slightly off the beaten track, but then also your classic sites that we know everyone wants to see. So 3 nights London, where they do this historic pub of the London Docklands walking tour. So this is an area in London that many years ago was frequented by pirates even and dock workers, and there's pubs there that have been that were around, all this time ago, but have been sort of changed, made hip and cool for modern day. And so it's going from pub to pub and tasting different beers and local foods of the region, but in a really historical setting, in a unique part of London that maybe your clients haven't been to yet. Also, same with Greenwich. Greenwich is a great place to go see. You can reach it by public transportation, basically the tube, but an above ground version of the tube. Or you can take a water taxi down the Thames to Greenwich. And then there's these cute little shops. It's a great town to just kind of wander around and see different things there. The walking tour, again, you do tastings at these different shops that they'll go to. And then on the way to Cornwall, stopping at the Bombay Sapphire Distillery for the tour. We've talked about this, but then after Cornwall, going back to London, stopping at Stonehenge and doing a tour there. So classic site that we know everyone is going to want to see. You definitely don't want to miss it. Even if you've been once, I suggest going again because you get different perspectives based on the weather, based on who you're with. I've been 3 times and I wasn't disappointed any of the times. So that's definitely a fun thing to do.
Wonderful. Okay, so now we'll move on to the north of England. It's beautiful countryside, some great vibrant cities, and of course famous football clubs. There's 5 international airports in the north of England. We've got Liverpool, Manchester, Leeds, Newcastle, and Humberside. And there's also great transport links between the cities, so it's a great place to do kind of a hub and spoke between, York, Leeds, Manchester, or Liverpool as a day trip. Now, some of the key attractions in the area, the Yorkshire Dales is the countryside. It has, those famous rolling green hills and those beautiful dry stone walls. Liverpool, amazing city, obviously well known for the Beatles, but it also has more museums and art galleries than any other UK city outside of London. Also in the region, you've got the Roman Wall, Hadrian's Wall, which you can visit. They have a new great visitor center, or right in Newcastle, you can see where it runs right through the city center. And you can also take walks on Hadrian's Wall. It doesn't have to be a major feat. So there's lots of different options to experience it. And then, of course, Manchester, famous for the football clubs. You can do stadium tours or behind-the-scenes tours, but there's also a great music scene and some great museums as well. And then, of course, the Lake District, which is a national park, and it's just incredibly gorgeous, very tranquil, majestic mountains, and beautiful lakes. So just a gorgeous area. Now, some of the areas that are still to be discovered, you may have been to York, but maybe not to Durham. Renowned for its architecture, in York, you've got the Shambles, which are those tangled cobbled streets, and the iconic York Minster. The city of York has more miles of intact Roman walls than anywhere else in England. And the Northumberland coast, it's home to these wide open beaches, and there's over 70 historic castles along the coast, so it's really, really amazing. And then one of those castles is Alnwick Castle, and if you're familiar with Harry Potter, it's actually where they filmed the Quidditch match, and they have lots of different fun activities there, an amazing treehouse restaurant, and beautiful sculpture gardens, so it's a great place to visit for the family. Now, just as a recap, some of the amazing food and drink specialties in the region. It's definitely renowned for having wonderful cheeses, amazing curries, and chocolate, tea, and ale. And the oldest fish and chip shop in the world is actually there, and that's also the name of it. It's about 9 miles north of Leeds, and it has served customers since 1865. And also in Northumberland, it's the home of Earl Grey tea. So there is actually a Charles, second Earl, and he created it many moons ago. And then it's also famous for the Grasmere gingerbread, which is so delicious and distinct, and you can get that in the Lake District. Okay, Megan.
Yes. So in the north of England, here for York, we have Taste of York. And this is really fun because I must be completely honest, but until I was developing this product, I had no idea that pairing cheese and tea together was a thing. But it absolutely is. And I'm very intrigued. I can't wait to go to York sometime soon and try this out. So it's really fun. You go to a tea shop there in the city, and they try 8 different teas and 8 different cheeses, and then there's a cheesemonger that kind of helps them pair the cheese and the tea, the different ones that they're trying, together with each other. So very unique, and I think very interesting. And then also included, we have this Yorkshire Breweries Tour, which is wonderful because it's a combination of great things. It's of course a brewery tour. So for people interested in beer, they're going to go to 2 or 3 local breweries in the area, do a tour. Each brewery is set up a little bit differently, maybe in their, of course, their marketing and how they choose to maybe get their hops, or how they go through the process on site. And so that's really interesting. But the fun part is that they're spread out in the Yorkshire area. So it's outside of the city of York. So your clients are going to be able to have time in the city, but then also get out into this really gorgeous English countryside and see rolling hills and see these little villages along the way as they're visiting these different breweries, all with someone else doing all the driving for them. So you can't really go wrong with that. So another option would be to combine London and York a couple of different ways. We have 2 suggested itineraries. Again, these are just suggestions. Your clients can absolutely change them. If they're some things they're interested, some things they're not, they can just kind of move some options around. We have plenty of other tours that can be added in as well. So that's not a problem. We have one itinerary that's kind of focused on drinks. So we have England in a glass. This is pairing London and York on a 6-night itinerary. So it's going to include in London, going to the City of London Gin Distillery, do a tour and a tasting there, go out to Greenwich, the close to London, I was saying earlier, and doing a brewery tour out there. And then in London, having an afternoon tea lesson, learning how to have a proper afternoon tea. And then in York, doing a tea tour in York, which is kind of a combination of a walking tour of the city to get like a feel for the city and learn the history, but then also learn the history of the tea trade and do having an afternoon tea as well on that tour. And then the breweries tour that I was just talking about. Another option, if your clients are more leaning towards the foodie side of their desired experiences, we have Bite of England. So again, still combining London and York, but with more of a foodie flavor to the itineraries. So we talked about the historic pubs tour in London, but also included would be going to Borough Market, which is really fun. It's an area it's very lively. There's a lot going on, lots of different food stalls, but also restaurants. And so having a guided tour of the market to visit the best and the highlighted food stalls and trying different things along the way. And then also going to Mayfair, really upscale area or neighborhood of London, and going to various chocolate and sweets shops there. And then in York, doing the cheese and tea pairing, as well as going to Harrogate. So this is a town very close to York, less than 30 minutes on the train, or they can hire private transportation and have someone drive them over to the town if they want to. And then doing a walking tour of this town. So visiting artisanal ice cream shops, visiting an old Victorian pub, one of the oldest pubs in the area. It still has some Victorian gaslit lamps inside, having Yorkshire tapas, which is really just a fun way of saying like basically having the Yorkshire local specialties, but served in a kind of tapas style. And this one is really easy to do, to connect these cities, London and York, on the train. It's just a couple of hours, really easy to do.
Excellent. Okay. I'm getting more and more hungry as we go through this presentation. Okay, so now we're moving on to Scotland. Scotland is full of grand castles, rugged landscapes, beautiful islands, and of course, delicious whiskey. But you know what I love about it the most? The people. They are so passionate about their country. It's contagious. They're super friendly, and even just, jumping on a taxi, they'll talk your arm off. And they're crazy about dancing, bagpipes, kilts, and tug of war. Now, some of the key attractions in Scotland, we're starting with Edinburgh, which is obviously the main attraction, including Edinburgh Castle, the Royal Mile, and the Palace of Holyrood House. And that's the Queen's residence when she's in Edinburgh. It's a great walking city, and also it's not too far from the Highlands, where you can get to stunning rolling hills and lochs. And of course, whiskey distilleries, we have more than 40 that are open to visitors. And you can also follow the malt whiskey trail and visit distilleries up into the Highlands. Now, some of the areas that are still to be discovered, the Scottish Islands have become so popular, and there's actually 800 small islands in 4 main groups. It's the Shetland, Orkney, and the Hebrides. We also have wonderful festivals that go on in Edinburgh, the Edinburgh International Festival, which was established back in 1947, and there's more than 3,000 events throughout the year and more than 25,000 performers. Now, moving on to some of the specialties, of course, whiskey is so well known, but the seafood is incredible, and there's actually a seafood trail, and that goes through, it's an incredible journey, and it's 11 seafood restaurants, and a lot of them have just these beautiful, coastal settings along the west coast of Scotland. And then I just want to show you a picture. I actually took this myself. I did the Seafood and Scotch tour Went up to Loch Fyne, and it was absolutely delicious. I mean, the scallops were so sweet, and the salmon was incredible. The oysters, amazing. So definitely try it.
Yes. So we have a couple of suggested itineraries that include Edinburgh. So we have Taste of Edinburgh, which it would be 3 nights, and then with a visit to the Pickering's Gin Distillery tour. This is right there in the heart of Edinburgh. So having a tour of the distillery, learning their process, the history of the building, because it wasn't always a gin distillery, and then having a tasting as well, and then doing this really fun Edinburgh food safari walking tour. So we had a couple of our reservation agents do this last fall. They went on this incredible 9-night itinerary. They said it was the highlight of their trip. They loved it so much. So it's going to have really fun kind of bohemian-ish neighborhood in Edinburgh, and visiting various local food shops. And the fun thing is that it's a mixture of, classic Scottish treats, but then also some new things, because, everything is always changing and evolving, and people are trying out, twists on a classic, or maybe their favorite thing from where they lived before, and now they've moved to Edinburgh. So really fun thing to do there. And then, of course, we have Taste of British Classics. So I think the name kind of says it all. It's, hitting all the classic spots here, and trying some just some things that you think are classically British. So visiting pubs, going to Borough Market, trying cheese, trying tea, doing gin, going on the food safari walking tour, and then just combining London, York, and Edinburgh with the train means you don't have to think about really anything. You just hop on a train, have a nice scenic ride for a couple of hours, and you're in the next city trying out new experiences. You really can't get any easier than that.
Okay, so Gina, did you want to talk about the campaign that we have going in our microsite?
Definitely. Well, thank you everyone for all your participation on our website. We are currently in a web booking contest month, which is very exciting. We'll go over that later. But I also wanted to bring to your attention our microsite that we created for this campaign specifically. If you want to look at it, it is www.avantidestinations.com/visitbritain. There you'll find all sorts of additional resources, such as videos, photo galleries. There's also an e-brochure link, and you can also find just a lot of great content about all the different food hubs.
And I just wanted to wrap up just to remind all of you to take advantage of our new trade website. We have links to our Brit Agent program, so you can get certification. Got links to our Visit Britain shop, which you can get discounts on all kinds of things. And then also we have the food and drink details as well.
And here we are on the AvantiDestinations.com homepage. And I wanted to point out 2 promotions that we currently have going. If you look at the I Travel for Local Flavor, if you click on that banner, you'll be connected to our bonus commission offer, which is $50 bonus commission on all your bookings going to Great Britain. And that is valid on any new booking created by March 31st. And then down below, you'll see another banner ad that says Win London and Cornwall. So we also have a web booking contest that's happening right now during the month of March. So any quotes that you make on our website from March 1st through 30th, you will be entered into a drawing to win our Sips and Samples of Southern Tea itinerary.
Wonderful. Thank you, everyone. We really appreciate the time and effort that you've taken to join with us today. We'll follow up with links to all of these items. And if you have any questions, you can put them through into the system.
Yeah, there's a comment box right at the bottom of the GoToWebinar panel. If you have any questions, feel free to submit them. Megan has access to that, and she can read them off to us if anyone submits.
Yeah, so I'm just scrolling through here. There's some great questions. Let's see. So somebody was asking, can the culinary tours be booked a la carte, or is there a minimum number of nights required for every booking? So for the products that we're offering, they are products that we developed for this campaign, but they are a part of our permanent product offering moving forward for Britain. So we'll always have these itineraries and these day tours, and you can book as much or as little. Hopefully it's as like tons and tons, you're doing the whole thing, but if there's just a couple of tours that they're most interested in, that's fine too. The day tours themselves can be booked standalone outside of the suggested itineraries, or if people just want to create their own custom itinerary with some of those tours, they can do that as well. There's no minimum nights for booking day tours. Then also, Lisa, somebody had a question about destination videos. Are there any videos that agents can have access to that would be especially good for showing their clients, not necessarily just for trade, but for the consumers?
Yes, we have a YouTube page, which I will include links to it. It's Love Great Britain on YouTube. But we have a lot of new videos, which some of them we'd love to have shown you, but we can't online here. But we've got food videos and the general I Travel for inspirational. So I'll definitely include that in the follow-up.
Great. Some people are looking for the web address for the Brit Agent site. Can you tell everyone that again?
Yep, it's britagent.com.
So easy. Britagent.com.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, and if you can click to the next couple slides, it's got our contact info and the trade website.
I will do that.
Perfect.
Perfect. Okay, then someone else was asking about the Brit Agent course. They did it a few years ago. Have there been any changes? Should they do it again?
Yep, it's been revamped, and I would definitely recommend to go on and do it and get your certification. And we've got some other new food and drink modules that'll be coming up soon too. So definitely go online and complete the program.
Yeah. Okay, great. Just looking through. So we've had a couple of questions about, is there a quote best time of the year to visit Great Britain? I have my own thoughts on that, but Lisa, what do you want to start? If they're like people are just looking, what are like the best times to go, or do we feel like there's any times maybe it's drier than others?
Yeah, I mean, I think, with Mother Nature these days, you never have a perfect time. I mean, summer obviously is great, but that's also the busiest season. So I would say, April, May is a great time to go, and also September, October. Those are also great. But honestly, going during the winter, which I've been many times, especially, up in Scotland where the mountains will be, covered in snow, you can still get around, and it's beautiful. Obviously, different from the beast from the east of the historic, storms that we just had recently. But as long as you've got, the right gear, it's really an all year round destination.
I couldn't agree more. So I've traveled to Great Britain many times at different times of the year, or even, to other areas in Europe. And sometimes in the summer it rains the whole time, and sometimes in the winter it's sunny. Like with the weather, it's obviously nothing we can control. I completely agree with what you were saying. Personally, I went to Wales in January this year, and I had pretty good weather. It only rained on me one time while I was in Wales, the 5 nights I was there. for like a half hour, and several days it was sunny all day. So kind of just had to maybe the weather luck is on your side when you go. So, but winter travel, of course, has lots of benefits. There's decidedly less people, as I said, in January in Wales. Some of the castles I was visiting, my traveling partner and I were the only people there, or maybe there were like 3 other people there. So, you definitely have benefits in the winter time as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, shoulder season, you're going to get better rates on hotels and things like that. And we actually did research recently, especially on, the West Coast travelers really are not as concerned with having, a warm vacation because they already have that at home. So, having experiences where you're going to areas that might be a little bit cooler is kind of fun. And then you get to go to cozy pubs and have amazing ale.
That's right. I mean, lots of places have warm fireplaces. You can warm up lots of different types of drinks there. I mean, there are plus sides to traveling any time of the year. You make it, make your vacation what you want it to be whenever you're able to go. So. Okay, I think that's most of it. Somebody was asking if we have transfers. Absolutely, we have transfers. These itineraries that were put together, they can be done with by train for the most part, or by car rental if your clients are interested in trying that out. I've done it several times before. It's actually quite fun, and you get a little, a different layer of freedom or flexibility, you could say. We also have private car and driving guides available as well. So transportation options, we connect all the dots when it comes to transportation. We can definitely cover all of that. Yeah, so I think that covers most of the questions that people were asking. A couple of people were asking about kind of collateral for this. They're asking, is there anything beyond the website? Gina, do we have flyers available for people to download to hand out to people?
We definitely do. We have flyers on our website, so that is www.avantidestinations.com/brochures. So you'll have access to all of our brochures, our e-brochure, including the e-brochure that we have for this campaign, as well as flyers. For the flyers, just please note that you do have to log into the website in order to download them.
Excellent. I have a question about currency that I definitely wanted to address here. Someone was asking if people are visiting like restaurants, should they carry local currency or are American dollars accepted? I personally haven't been able to use American dollars while in Europe, but so definitely you need local currency. Many places cards. So cards are
definitely. It's very easy to just use your ATM card when you get to Britain, or obviously you can do it at any of the exchange places in the airport, or at the at banks once you get there. But you can also use your credit card, pretty much anywhere these days, even at the pubs. So that's easy. But you definitely want to use pounds when you're there.
Absolutely. And then somebody asked if this webinar will be online, and yes, we are recording this webinar, so it took a little bit of time, but it will be uploaded onto the Avanti website shortly. So, Gina, did you have anything else you wanted to add, or Lisa?
I just wanted to say thanks to everyone. There's already been great support for the campaign. I've seen you guys really engaging in our social media campaign on Instagram. That is at Travel Avanti on Instagram, on Facebook as well, at Avanti Destinations. Thank you so much for all the great feedback about your clients and their experiences there. It's really helped us create a lot of the product that you see now.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah, we're so glad that you joined us today. And if you have any clients that are out there traveling, have them use the hashtag #LoveGreatBritain. And let us know if you have any suggestions or needs. We want to hear from you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us and taking the time out of your, I'm sure, very, very busy day. We really appreciate that. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out to our reservations team, or you can, of course, email them as well. Requests at avantidestinations.com is a great way if you have quotes that you would like to do via email, or of course you can talk to our wonderful, wonderful travel consultants at 800-422-5053. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.